him to now be taking these bullshit I can't even say it. No, you don't think it does at all?
No. Here's the reason why. He's retired, number one. Number two, he had already proved himself as a world champion, made a whole boatload of money. He got $700 million in 2 fights, for crying out loud. He did all of that stuff. Then he retired, and he's announced that essentially these are exhibitions. He's just having fun with it because he's getting old. He's 45 years old now, and he did what he came to do.
But soon as someone black, when my career is over as far as me in a combat sport, as far as boxing, whatever, if I'm promoting on social media or I'm doing exhibitions, it's like, oh man, he's broke. No, it's not a crime for them to make money. They don't say nothing about the guys that's 80 and 90 that's still making hundreds of millions and billions, but soon as somebody black does it, your people, your own people, say, oh, he's big.
Now, did Logan ever get paid with the situation with Floyd Mayweather?
Nah, not yet. Floyd Mayweather's broke. You know, that's what a lot of people don't realize.
Floyd Mayweather has always been a larger-than-life figure, known for his flashy lifestyle, his collection of expensive cars, shiny watches, and those jaw-dropping paydays that followed him throughout his boxing career. But in recent days, rumors have spread about him being broke. It seems unbelievable, especially given that he's one of the richest boxers in history. But the talks seem to be growing louder. Stephen A. Smith recently assessed Mayweather's current situation, and even though he was just looking at what could be real, Mayweather himself was not impressed by his comments.
You got guys like Warren Buffett that's in his 80s or 90s that can still make a ton of money. The Waltons that own Walmart. Bill Gates can still make computers. But soon as someone black, when my career is over as far as me in a combat sport, as far as boxing, whatever, if I'm promoting on social media or I'm doing exhibitions, it's like, oh man, he's broke. No, it's not a crime for them to make money. They don't say nothing about the...
During one of his sessions, Smith painted a grim picture, talking about how Mayweather's extravagant lifestyle might be costing him a fortune. The cars, the watches, the jets, the mansions, they all add up. And Smith suggested that it's probably more than Mayweather could afford at this point, now that he's no longer fighting. With no big paydays from the ring, Smith pointed out that maintaining such a lavish lifestyle is no small feat, and it's possible Mayweather is living beyond his means.
Whatever he wants, and he wasn't getting his way this time. It was so embarrassing. Floyd, you're 50 years old. You're a legend in the sport. I've stood up for you in countless interviews, including Shannon Sharp's podcast last week. But you have to stop embarrassing yourself with these exhibitions. I know life is hard, I know.
This is not the first time these talks are spreading, but it seems that Mayweather has had enough. In true Floyd fashion, he fired back hard, threatening anyone who dares to say he's broke. If you say I'm broke, you better watch out, Mayweather warned, vowing to sue anyone who tried to tarnish his name with negativity. However, as much as this is his reaction, things only seem to be proving the point. Things got even messier when employees at Mayweather's gym in Los Angeles staged a protest. The workers were claiming that they hadn't been paid in months, which only added more fuel to the fire, holding signs and chanting outside the gym. They accused Mayweather's company, the Money Team, of not fulfilling its obligations to them. Some even went as far as calling it modern-day slavery because they felt exploited, denied their rightful pay.
I just probably can use this.
Okay. The Money Team has no money.
All right.
The Money Team has
The protesters weren't just angry, they were desperate, and they weren't sure if Mayweather even knew about the situation. In some ways, it's hard to say if Mayweather was directly involved in the issues his gym employees were facing. Some workers claimed that they weren't allowed to even tell him what was going on, which only fueled suspicions that he might be turning a blind eye to the problems under his brand. Even with all the allegations, Mayweather has continued to publicly deny any wrongdoing, insisting that he is still in control and that his money is fine.
You live an American dream, man. You got 55 cars, 40 girlfriends.
Well, actually,
you're a billionaire now, right? Come on, let's salute this billionaire on stage.
But how many years ago you was broke? When I say broke, you ain't have a lot of money, you was just barely making it.
Today.
But despite the protests and accusations, Mayweather seemed undeterred. In fact, he went on to make even more lavish moves that year. Just days ago, after the protests, Mayweather made headlines by supposedly buying over 60 buildings in Upper Manhattan for a massive $402 million. With more than 1,000 residential units, this was no small investment. Growing up, I used to dream about owning just one home by myself, he said in an interview, proudly sharing his success. It seemed like Mayweather wanted to prove that his financial empire was still standing strong, but buying a massive real estate portfolio in New York is no small feat, and managing such an investment requires a lot of money and attention.
Just another ordinary day, chilling in an EWB Rolls Royce. For those that don't know what an EWB is, that's an extended wheelbase Rolls Royce. I need the leg room. I know I ain't that tall, about 5'8.5", some days 5'9", but it is what it is.
With that kind of commitment, you'd think he'd have a steady stream of income to keep everything afloat. Then, just a few months later, Mayweather splashed out another $20 million on a property in Midtown Manhattan. This wasn't just any property. It was a prime piece of real estate on 6th Avenue, one of the busiest streets in New York. The building, which housed offices and jewelry shops, was a significant acquisition, located right near major landmarks like Radio City Music Hall and Rockefeller Center. Mayweather even shared how special the property was to him, recalling how he used to shop in the area when he was younger.
To late 40s now, still fighting these random people in random places.
Yeah.
For 5 million here, 10 million there.
No, he's just a big spender. You can't spend like that, you know? Like,
this guy has a lot of chains.
So many chains, bro. That's, chains, that's a depreciating asset.
Yeah.
Get yourself something.
But while Mayweather was out there buying high-end properties, the situation at his gym is only getting worse. Employees are still claiming that they haven't been paid, and one of his gyms had shut down after failing to pay $30,000 in rent. That kind of financial neglect doesn't match up with the image of the man who once made $300 million for a single fight. Something isn't adding up. How could someone who earned billions be struggling to keep his businesses afloat?
Money made all day. You know, right here, a light million. Over there, counting up another million over there. Walk with me, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take you into my life. So Andrew Jackson, of course, is on the 20. Benjamin Franklin right here. You know, money made all day. We in the bank, doing what we do best, counting money.
Floyd has built an empire that extends far beyond the boxing ring, focusing much of his attention on the real estate market. Over the years, he has managed to acquire a substantial portfolio, including 9 skyscrapers in the New York area, thanks to his partnership with SL Green. Mayweather himself has boasted about his strategic moves in the city, recounting a walk through Manhattan with Andrew Mathias, the president of SL Green. During this walk, Mathias pointed out multiple buildings that they owned, emphasizing the lucrative nature of real estate. A boxer makes money when he's boxing. A football player makes money when he's playing football. A basketball player makes money when he's playing basketball. But in New York real estate, you make money when you sleep. It's a statement that embodies Mayweather's efforts to transition from his boxing days into the world of passive income and long-term wealth building.
I believe in building generational wealth. Even like when my children, all 4 of my children are adults. And I told them, no more handouts. Because I feel like I'm hurting my children just by, I give them money, they go shopping, they put gas in their car, they party, they come back, I need money. I give them money, I buy them houses, I buy them cars. Told them, listen, if you guys go to school or you work in one of my businesses, then you can branch off, get your own business.
For Mayweather, the game plan is clear. Build an empire of assets that generate money for him even when he's not actively working. In that sense, real estate is the perfect avenue for his post-fight life. His involvement in a new casino project in partnership with Caesars, SL Green, and Jay-Z's Rock Nation further solidifies his desire to make his money work for him. The project to build Caesars Palace Times Square would bring jobs and entertainment to one of the most iconic areas in the world. With figures like Jay-Z involved, it's clear that this project has the potential to be a game changer. For Mayweather, it seems like a perfect opportunity to expand his reach in a way that mirrors the success he achieved in boxing.
So one day, somebody, because you know I don't have social media on my phone, so they showed me Eddie. Eddie was like, Floyd Mayweather ain't got no money. That's why he doing exhibitions. No, Eddie don't.
However, despite his lavish business ventures and high-profile investments, Mayweather's financial reality may not be as stable as he would like the public to believe. The image of the self-made millionaire has been challenged in recent months, particularly with the allegations surrounding his gym in Los Angeles. These concerns have been further amplified by the claims made by Gervonta Davis, Mayweather's protege. Davis recently suggested that Mayweather might actually be in a serious financial bind, possibly even stuck in Dubai. The comments were a direct challenge to Mayweather's image as an unshakable force in the financial world.
You owe them people over in Dubai that money. Tell them get on live right now. And he owe people in Saudi Arabia money.
The financial troubles that Mayweather faces may not be as visible as the lavish cars, the watches, and the properties he parades for the public. But underneath the surface, it's clear that the financial strain is starting to show. The real estate investments that were once a symbol of Mayweather's wealth may be more of a gamble than a solid source of income. The fact that he is still splashing out large sums of money on properties, including the $20 million purchase in Midtown Manhattan, raises a big question. Is he really making money, or is he trying to show off a lifestyle that he can no longer afford? The contrast between his public persona and the behind-the-scenes turmoil paints a stark picture. On one hand, Mayweather continues to boast about his real estate success, his big-ticket acquisitions, and his ability to make money in his sleep. On the other hand, reports of unpaid wages and mounting debts suggest that he might be struggling to maintain the empire he's built. As his gym faces protests and his real estate ventures come under scrutiny, it seems that the financial foundation of his post-boxing life is beginning to crack.
He owes a bunch of gambling debts. Floyd, okay? And he tried to plant fake news out here saying that he was in downtown LA giving out money, and then he was at the, the basketball game. This is Floyd in Dubai. Yeah.
Mayweather's brand of luxury has always been tied to his success in the ring. But as time goes on, it appears that his financial situation might not be as secure as it once was. With younger fighters like Gervonta Davis pointing out that Mayweather might be living a lie, it's clear that the facade may not hold for much longer. The fight for financial stability off the canvas could be just as tough as any fight Mayweather faced inside the ring, and right now, the odds may not be in his favor. The very thing that Mayweather has built his image around, his wealth, could be what eventually brings him down, especially if the bills keep piling up faster than the money he's earning.
If somebody right now in here hit the lottery, the first thing they're gonna say is give it all to me, because they don't know no better. Because rich and wealth is two different things. When you're rich for a short period of time. Rich is short term. Wealth is long term. You can have 100 million, but if you don't got no game plan, it's gonna be gone. So, if I didn't know what I know.
His lifestyle has always been part of his brand. The flashy cars, the expensive watches, the private jets, and the extravagant parties. From the moment he stepped into the spotlight, Mayweather made it clear that he wasn't just a champion in the ring, he was also a symbol of wealth, luxury, and success. But beneath the dazzling exterior, there are signs that his lavish lifestyle might be starting to take a toll. In fact, the patterns emerging over the last few years suggest that Mayweather may be desperately trying to keep up appearances with exhibition fights and other ventures serving as desperate attempts to maintain the life he's built.
I remember the week before I fought Floyd, I was in my hotel room by myself with my mind about to implode.
You're about to fight arguably the greatest boxer of all time.
As an 0-1 YouTuber.
It's great that you got the job done of getting the paperwork. I got Floyd Mayweather to agree to fight me. But you gave a respectable performance to where people walked away and it's not a gimmick anymore.
I owe Floyd a thanks. Floyd Mayweather, looking forward to receiving the rest of the money you owe me, but thank you.
Former UFC title challenger Chael Sonnen claimed as far back as 2018 that Mayweather was broke and needed another fight for a much-needed payday. While many dismiss Sonnen's statement as trash talk, his words might have held more weight than initially thought. Sonnen said, "It does not matter what you made, it matters what you kept, and he is a dum-dum." This, coming from a seasoned fighter and commentator, painted a grim picture of Mayweather's finances. Despite the massive paydays that Mayweather enjoyed during his career, especially his 2017 fight against Conor McGregor, which earned him a reported $300 million, the boxer's spending habits and lifestyle choices may have caught up with him in ways few realized at the time.
You'll see reports. You mentioned $100 million for Floyd. The reports are 130. First off, he's never gotten $100 million for a fight, and not even remotely close. But there's reports of 130. Wow. There's reports online that Floyd's a billionaire. There's reports that he was the highest paid athlete in this year and this year and this. That I'm wrong because of what Google said. When you say something stupid, I'm going to ask you a very simple question. If Floyd was paid $250 million, which Forbes says he was, who wrote the check?
Mayweather officially retired after the McGregor fight in 2017, but he didn't exactly fade into the background. Instead, he took his show on the road, charging fans exorbitant prices for online meet and greets, with some fans reportedly paying up to 1.2k pounds for the privilege of interacting with the boxer. A UK tour followed, but as 50 Cent, a former friend turned rival, publicly declared Mayweather's money was gone. 50 Cent even claimed that Mayweather was now appearing at local nightclubs because he needs that action. The idea that Mayweather's fortune had somehow vanished seemed far-fetched, given the magnitude of his past earnings. But these statements, alongside his increased efforts to stay in the public eye, suggested that his financial situation was far from stable.
He wants to give me the other half of it. Why I gotta ask you for it?
Right.
And then when
are we talking over $2 million?
It's about that.
Oh, okay.
At that point, it was, invested in.
All right.
So look, he goes, when he finally does bring up the actual the situation, he acted like he didn't know anything. Like, I didn't tell y'all to do that. I didn't tell you to do that.
Oh, man.
So how could someone who made hundreds of millions of dollars in their career end up in this position? It's clear that Mayweather's lavish spending habits have played a significant role. He's known for flaunting his impressive collection of jewelry, including an extensive watch collection valued at millions of dollars. His 41-piece watch collection is particularly eye-popping, with the most expensive piece, a $14 million billionaire watch by Jacob & Co., being a clear sign of Mayweather's affinity for luxury. In addition to watches, he's shown off stacks of cash and other expensive items, ensuring his followers on social media are constantly reminded of his wealth. But this need to showcase his fortune could be more about maintaining his image than truly enjoying the fruits of his labor.
We got options, options, options. I got about 100 cars, but right here, we like to call this the Sweet 16. Lambo, Ferrari, 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 Lambo.
Mayweather's love for gambling has also been a significant drain on his finances. Known for his high-stakes betting, he reportedly made some impressive wins, such as a £2.3 million profit from betting on college football in 2012. However, the gamble doesn't always pay off. In fact, according to sources, by 2018, Mayweather was in nearly $40 million of debt due to his gambling losses. To pay off these debts, he even considered rematching Manny Pacquiao, one of the biggest fights in boxing history. This constant cycle of earning, spending, and gambling raises a serious question. How long can Mayweather continue to sustain this lifestyle? Mayweather's financial troubles are further compounded by his history of tax issues. In 2009, he was forced to pay back £4.5 million in taxes, and in 2018, he settled for £600,000 with the Securities and Exchange Commission after failing to disclose payments. Before the McGregor fight, Mayweather owed the IRS £17.8 million in back taxes and even sued them, arguing that he could only pay the debt after his lucrative bout with the Irishman. This history of financial mismanagement, coupled with his penchant for high-risk gambling, paints a picture of a man who is struggling to maintain control over his wealth. In the build-up to the McGregor fight, even Conor McGregor voiced his concerns over Mayweather's gambling habits. McGregor was quick to point out that Mayweather's obsession with gambling might be one of the reasons he was in the financial position he was in. He needs to let that gambling go, McGregor said.
$1.8 million
$1.8 million watch.
$1.8 million, dude?
You're the first to see it.
That's insane.
I certainly know he has a big-time gambling problem. McGregor's words hit home, highlighting how Mayweather's desire to live a lavish lifestyle and the extreme measures he's taken to fund it could eventually be his downfall. Mayweather's collection of luxury vehicles, including 5 Rolls-Royces worth over $2 million, only adds to the burden of his financial troubles. On top of this, he owns multiple high-end properties, such as an £8 million home in Las Vegas, a $6.2 million Miami property, and a £19 million mansion in Beverly Hills. Add to this his private jet, which he regularly uses to travel the world. And it's clear that Mayweather's expenses far exceed what most people could ever imagine. His spending isn't just about enjoying the finer things in life, it's about constantly projecting an image of success and opulence. But as time goes on, it's becoming increasingly apparent that this lifestyle is catching up with Mayweather. The exhibition fights, which he has continued to stage in order to keep his name in the spotlight, scream of desperation. Mayweather has even been criticized for these bouts, with some fans questioning whether they are just a way for him to maintain his cash flow. Despite his legendary status in the sport of boxing, these fights feel less like competitive matches and more like a way for him to continue funding his lavish existence.
Floyd Mayweather is bankrupt. At least that's what Logan Paul thinks. Logan hopped on the Walkway to Fight Club show, and when he was asked about being paid, he was nothing short of honest.
It's unfortunate because, you know, same Floyd Money Mayweather. Surely I was going to get my check fairly quickly, right? And that didn't happen, so I'm sure it'll come eventually, right? I realized, okay, I'm being strung along. This is a classic, hey, buddy, you're the new guy in this industry. We're going to puppeteer you however we want. Hop on for the ride and shut up. Instead of shutting up, I make fun of him on social media and let everyone know that he doesn't have any money.
In the end, Mayweather's biggest fight may not be in the ring, but in his struggle to maintain his lifestyle. The pattern is clear. An obsession with gambling, excessive spending, and a constant need to flaunt wealth are starting to take their toll. The man who once seemed invincible in the ring may be facing a battle of a different kind, one that could cost him far more than any fight ever could. If he's not careful, the same excess that made him famous might also be what ultimately brings him down. How do you see it? Share your take below and subscribe for more updates.